Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah. I'm a compulsive overeater, and I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet. I phone them into my sponsor. I don't eat anything in between, no matter what. I put my abstinence first, and I do it without exception. And it's a privilege. It's truly a privilege to be a gray sheeter. And my abstinence date is September 16th, 1997. Um, and I was born and raised in the Midwest, looking good family. I'm the youngest of three kids. I have two older brothers, and lots of alcoholism and compulsive overeating in my family tree on both sides. I There was a lot of hiding anything that didn't look good in my family. A lot of hiding went on. My dad was a physician, and we were in a college town, so it was a lot about being, like an upstanding citizen and getting good grades and all of that. But you just scratch the surface a little bit, and oh my goodness, there was a lot going on underneath. I remember loving sugar from my very first memories. My very first memories when I was 3 and 4, and I always wanted more. I could not understand people who could stop. Even, even as a young child, I was climbing up on the kitchen cabinets. In my friend Julie, her grandmother lived across the street from us, and we would go up on her kitchen cabinets and get into stuff that we don't eat. And she could take one, and I wanted the whole jar. And I couldn't stop even then. As I grew up, as I got older, I guess I was slightly overweight when I was a little girl, but then as I was like 8, 9, 10, I was getting taller. So, I look at my old photos, and I was relatively lanky, when I see some of them. But by the time I hit puberty, there was, my weight started catching up with me, and consequently, then there needed to be diets. And so that started the whole, oh my God, the whole roller coaster ride with diets. Oh my God. I cringe thinking about all of the diets. And, I would read 17 magazine and Glamour magazine, and, later on it was Cosmopolitan when I was more, more worldly. I wasn't, but I thought I was. And any diet in any magazine, and Weight Watchers. I went to Weight Watchers with our next door neighbor, who happens to still be my mother's next door neighbor. And I did that, like as a kid. That Weight Watchers food plan has changed a lot. Those were the olden days. And I went on a protein diet. This, oh, awful liquid, was like this golden liquid color, and these came in these big bottles, and I would drink that with soy lecithin and kelp tablets. And I was, oh God, it just was awful. And water with vinegar in it, and oh God, horrible. And like that one protein diet, there was you could eat like 500 calories worth of food that day, 500 calories. And so I learned to lie. I never know that nobody can do that, and I couldn't, obviously. And then when I go back to the doctor would test my urine, and he'd know that I was out there eating sugar and stuff that we don't eat. And so yeah, that was my long romance with dieting. Started back there in puberty. I did a lot of hiding, sneaking, stealing, lying. I stole money from my mother's purse and blamed it on the woman that cleaned our house. And my dad had this big Tupperware container of filled with mostly quarters, but filled with, coins. And I would grab a big handful to go to the vending machines out at, we belonged to a lake community. It was like a golfing, swimming club. And there was this old historic log cabin there with a giant black bear skin with the head and everything hanging on the wall. And I had to walk through in order to sneak into to go to the vending machine so that my mother wouldn't see me. I would sneak through this log cabin and go through that entryway. And I was scared to death of that bear. And I would do it anyway because I had to have it. I had to have my fix. And, those were the days when I don't know what they do with vending machines. I don't look at vending machines anymore, but those were the days when in the hot of, I was in Missouri, I was in the heat, it gets up to 100 degrees in July and August. And, whatever came out of the vending machine was melted. And my mom made me this, my mom was a seamstress. She was amazing. And she made me this, although this particular outfit was awful, she made me a swimming suit that was like, it was like the precursor of a tankini, but so it had the bodice was close fit. And then around the belly was like this ruffly aprony looking thing. And then like practically like pantaloons underneath. I mean, it was just god awful, but it had a lot. I was able, the aprony part fluffed over the bottoms, and I would stuff the bottoms with melted stuff that we don't eat, sneak into the women's room, flush the toilet while I was crinkling. I was really good at running water and flushing toilets while I was eating. And we had a similar situation and it's still the same way in my mom's upstairs bathroom. The plumbing has one of those wooden like a little door that you unscrew, and it was always falling out, and it would show the plumbing underneath the bathtub, and there was lots of space in there. And that was like one of my secret hidey holes, and I would hide food in there and eat food while I was running the water. And I hid food all through my bed, through my pillows, just I had a dollhouse, I hid it in the attic. So I learned to be a sneaky liar because it wasn't okay to want that much food and want that much sugar and eat that much sugar. And my family hid food from me too. One time I found some in a, like, I don't know why, but I happened to open up this antique cabinet that's in our living room, and there was food in there that they were hiding from me. So, I basically, I hated my mother very much when I was a young, like a teenager. Now I love her very much, and I've loved her very much for a long, long time. But there was a point when I was in junior high when I came home, and she had that, the silent, deadly silent anger going on. I couldn't figure out what I had done, but I went up to my bedroom, and she had cleaned my 13-year-old bedroom, and there was a 2-foot pile of wrappers on my bed that she had pulled out from everywhere. And just, like she was trying to help me. She was showing me basically who I was. And that the shame of that still really bothers me, when I think of it. But I do try to tell that because it's just such a vivid memory to me. Fast forward to young adulthood. As I said, I was born and raised in a college town. I ended up finally leaving after my bachelor's degree, and I moved up and down I lived up and down the East Coast. And my reason for living up and down the East Coast was so that I could have a geographic move about every 3 years. And it, I just, you know, I got my master's degree in Baltimore.
5 minutes left.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. And then I left there. I went up to Boston. I left there. I went to Connecticut. I left there. I went back down to the Baltimore area. I left there, or I moved within Baltimore at that time. And then I finally moved to New York City. Oh, thank you, God, because that is where I found Gray Sheet. I say that with such relief, because just even talking about all those moves, my background is in music. So, you know, I'm a classically trained singer. So my reason for moving was always a new voice teacher, you know, a new beginning, a new start. I was, you know, like I had this very positive attitude. And, you know, and I had every self-help book known to mankind. I had this great big heavy, one of those pressed board IKEA shelves filled with self-help books, and 12, you know, my 12 and 12, my big book, you know, like, I don't know, 15 meditation books, 20, I don't know. And when I moved the last time to New York, I threw all of it away, all of those books. I would binge reading my big book, you know, but I threw all of it away. I had roaches in my apartment. It's embarrassing to talk about, but I had roaches in my apartment because I had so much food, you know, and wrappers and crap all over the place. But I remember having to put the cockroach bomb to kill them all before I moved so I could leave the apartment clean. So the wrappers went in with the dead cockroaches, went in with the books. I moved to New York for my new beginning. And I found Gray Sheet. It was a lot more involved than that, but with the time I have left, I'm so grateful I found Gray Sheet. I went to a meeting at the Y on the Upper West Side on Sunday afternoon. And for the first time, I heard someone tell the truth about what they did with food. And I heard them say stuff that I did, eating out of the garbage. I'm the kind of compulsive overeater that would go from fast food restaurant to fast food restaurant, eating the best parts, and then throwing out what I didn't want after I was full up to here. And then going back later and picking it up off the side of the road in the rain and eating it. I'm the kind of compulsive overeater that would go to a bakery and pretend like I was ordering enough for everyone at work. And then, you know, eat half of it. I'd eat some of it on the way to work. I'd go back out at lunch and eat some more on the way home. And then the next day I'd pretend and do it all over again. But I found Gray Sheet. I found the truth. I found clarity, and I found a food plan that got rid of all the stuff I was allergic to. And that was when I found the big book. I found the 12 and 12. I found step studies. I found retreats. I found clarity and truth. And, you know, I just, it's the best thing in my life. Gray Sheet is the best thing in my life. I've had a lot of no matter whats over time. I had an abstinent wedding. I had an abstinent death of my father. Well, I held his head while he died. I had an abstinent, everything in between, funerals, weddings, Thanksgivings. My first Thanksgiving, I'll just end with this. My first Thanksgiving, I was by myself and I ate a non-traditional meat that I love, and it kept me abstinent. So I see that my time is almost up. I've made my very best friends are Gray Sheeters. I am sponsored. I'm in a couple of other 12-step programs because I have some process addictions. And but it all starts here. It all comes down to this, and this is what my solid footing is, and where I start with my day and end my day. So with that, I shall pass, and thank you very much, no matter what, everybody.